Hey everybody, it's Doc, and I wanted to take a minute to talk about the Linus Tech Tips debacle and give some opinions of my own about what's been going on and what I think is right and wrong. But, you know, Linus to me has been one of the major influencers for me to get into doing some YouTube videos, as well as been probably the first place I would go to look up information on new products to spend my hard-earned money on. And to hear what happened in the last couple of weeks has been fairly disappointing. And I'm not one of those guys that has time to watch every Linus video that he makes. I mean, the company posts about roughly 3 videos a day or more. And that's a lot of videos. So, and we'll get into whether or not that's part of the problem. But I don't have time to watch them all. But occasionally, Linus will do some reviews that call into question some of the results they get. And if they get awkward results, you would have to then question the process that LMG uses to do their testing. Now, nobody's perfect. I understand that. And I think everybody out there on the internet should understand that too. Nobody's perfect. Everybody tries to do their best. But when ethics creates the major problem, or whether money becomes a bigger concern than quality, I think that's a difference than everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes. And so one of the things that kind of hit LMG all at the same time, there was like a couple of things that hit all at once, was calling into question the reliability of how Linus Media Group performs their tests, as well as what they put out there as far as videos regarding the accuracy of those tests. And apparently Linus had has a convention where he invited people, YouTubers, onto his campus, and there was somebody there who kind of called out Gamers Nexus, and Steve at Gamers Nexus, I think, was the one who responded to it. But they called out Gamers Nexus, as well as other people, as basically not doing testing the right way. And Gamers Nexus fired back with a video basically saying, listen man, your data isn't always accurate, and I think that the reason that your data isn't accurate is because you are imposing a requirement of putting a certain amount of content up on YouTube, as well as deadlines which are hard to meet, and that degrades the quality of the stuff that you put out there. So that was the first big hit. And then they have data Gamers Nexus had data to back it up. And one of the things they talk about was a 4090 review where they did some Cyberpunk testing and put it against the 3090 and said that the 4090 performed 300% better than the 3090. And those are kind of some really, really, head scratching kind of results that should make you wonder if your testing scenario is legitimately giving you good data. So that was the first thing. And Linus, they put out an apology video and said, hey, you know what? You're right, and we have to look at it. But the question is not so much did we make an error. Well, I mean, I guess that's important because, you're a company that was valued at over $100 million when he was talking about wanting to potentially sell the company and whether or not he would do that. But it's not so much about making errors. It's about whether or not you're willing to put profit in front of accuracy, quantity over quality. And that's a big problem. And I hope that Linus Tech Tips, Linus Media Group, does their restructuring or reorganization, as they noted in their video, to try to get a handle on that. And that should usually maybe result in less videos. But if the videos are better quality, then that would be a plus for everyone. But, you take into account that issue. And then on top of it, you take into account this situation with that custom water block. I forget the name of the company, but I know it was a fledgling startup that gave Linus a water block to test. And then you talk about the quantity over quality. Apparently Linus put the wrong GPU on the water block, caused some problems, and then I think Linus just basically threw his hands up in the air and said, this isn't worth buying. It's an $800 water block. Who's going to spend money on that? And these guys who are a fledgling company were looking to possibly get, a review out on one of the biggest tech reviewers, tech channels on YouTube, and they basically got just kind of blown off. And the company asked for the water block back more than once, was told they would get it back, and then at this convention, it's found out that LMG has put that water block up for auction, for charity, of course, and that's what they, reiterated, that it wasn't for sale, but it was for charity. But, does that show attention to detail that's necessary in the business that they run? And obviously not. I mean, when you're a new fledgling startup and you're putting prototypes together, I mean, prototyping is very expensive, especially that company, I think, only had 2 owners, and they couldn't get their equipment back. So that's the other problem. So you have quantity over quality, what you do with people's tech and how you treat other people who are in the business and trying to make a name for themselves. And third, you end up having this issue where there's been someone who's been accusing, an ex-employee who's been accusing LMG of being like a toxic workplace environment. I find it interesting that this comes out so much later, and why, if this person had such a toxic workplace experience, that nothing was done earlier. And I'm not sure of the whole background there, but they said they're looking at that and trying to do an investigation. And I guess that's the best you can do. And Linus Media Group has a new CEO. He was on there talking about the mistakes they've made, them trying to do better, and I think that's important. And I know our culture, especially the gaming culture and the tech culture, tend to quickly write off people, but I'm hoping that everyone out there gives Linus Media Group another chance. I mean, this is some guy's life work. And yeah, maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he's burned out. I mean, you've seen a couple of videos he's had in the past where he was talking about like quitting, and I think, putting someone else as the CEO of the company was part of that. Maybe that burnout that happens with the pressure of trying to stay relevant in this space, no matter what. And that sometimes can cloud you and becomes more important than the work you do. And sometimes you need somebody to keep you in check and, slap you around and say, listen, you're not doing good work. You're not doing what this channel was set out to do. And maybe this is the, horn blowing for the reality call that Linus Media Group needs to have, the reality check that, they need to put a little bit more effort into what they're doing and keep very much in mind at all times that they're doing this for the community. They're doing this for the person who's opening their wallet and spending hard-earned cash on technology and trying to see what's relevant in the tech world, what's not so relevant, and maybe they should be treating other people better. I mean, I can certainly understand not going with a water block or a mouse. I mean, there was that issue with the mouse that they also had, that I believe like the reviewer didn't take like the plastic off the feet of the mouse and then said the mouse was really rough, so, and gave it a bad review. So I mean, things like this, the attention to detail is important here. And as someone who makes videos very much on his spare time, I've thrown out a bunch of videos because I felt I couldn't do it right. So no sense of putting something out there that's worthless and or incorrect. So everybody should put the pitchforks and torches down. And I know Linus has had probably some pretty tough days, and as much as it was disappointing to hear everything that happened with LMG, I'm hoping they can turn it around, and I think that everybody deserves a chance. So you know what though? What do they say? The phrase is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, I think that everybody should give them another chance. Let's see if they push the, quality over quantity thing and not worry so much about what the bottom line is, as Gamers Nexus put it. They were very bottom line centric, and go for quality. I mean, I don't know what this did to the valuation of their company, but I'm sure that most people would not be wanting to buy LMG for $100 million today. and the tarnishment of the company needs to be remedied. So let's see what they do. If not, you can always find another channel. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Please let me know your comments below. Like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. TikTok, Facebook, X now, not Twitter, Twitch, as well as my podcast with my friend Damon, the Modern Boomer, at the Modern Boomer YouTube page as well, where we talk everything men, lifestyle, tech, gaming, life, cars, food, exercise, health, whatever. All right, guys, I'll get another video out to you soon. Have a good one.